Dr. Peter Breggin, nationally talking all over the country about this issue of medication madness, which is his latest book. The first one you may recognize, the title, Talking Back to Prozac. Do you not believe, Dr. Breggin, that people have depression that needs to be treated with medication? Do people not have chemical imbalances?
Well, first, people do get depressed. I mean, depression's a part of normal life in many ways. When we have losses, we grieve. When things don't develop in our lives the way we want, we get sad, we have losses. So it's really a human continuum. And some people get terribly depressed. But that doesn't mean it's biological. The idea that individuals have biochemical imbalances in their brain is a PR campaign by drug companies. We can't even measure the activities in the human brain. We'd have no way of proving a biochemical imbalance. But we do know from animal research that the drugs cause biochemical imbalances. So it's literally true that the only known biochemical imbalances in the brains of people who are depressed or anxious are the ones caused by the drugs.
You don't think anybody ever really benefits from taking even a small amount of these medications?
I think it's a mistake to try to treat a fundamentally psychological, spiritual problem of feeling hopeless about life by doing something to your brain. You're never going to improve your brain with a psychoactive substance, whether it's alcohol or marijuana or Prozac or Xanax. You're not going to make your brain work better. The brain's much too complicated for that. People need to come to grips with their lives, and we discourage that when we make believe there's a biochemical imbalance.
All right, Gary and Sebring, your turn.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I believe the gentleman's correct. My dad passed away. I was feeling depressed. My family doctor gave me Prozac. I started seeing things and becoming very, very violent at work. I was only on them 10 days. I flushed them and got off them.
And do you feel less that way now that you're off the medication?
Oh, I've been off 12 years and feel fine.
Very, very, very glad for you. I appreciate that comment. Tanya in Tampa, how about you?
Hi, I have the exact opposite approach to it. I've been on it for 6 years, and it wasn't only depression that I had. It was OCD and some other things, a little bit of anger, and it just helps me feel balanced. And when I'm off it, I don't feel okay.
What do you say to her?
Well, I have no desire to take her medication away from her. She's an adult. If she's informed, if she hears both sides of the story, it's up to her. But I would like her to know that it may be the reason she feels worse when she comes off the medication is that she's having a serious withdrawal reaction. If in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 10 days after stopping an antidepressant, you start to feel weird or depressed or suicidal or violent, the odds are overwhelming. It's a withdrawal reaction.
Tanya, are you still on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
He wants to ask you something, Tanya. Can you just answer this? Hold on.
Sure.
Well, first, Tanya, I don't want to discourage you from taking the medication, but after you stop the medication, and when was the last time you stopped, how long does it take before you start to feel uneasy and in a way you don't want to feel?
It's not necessarily an uneasiness. It's just
whatever it is.
I don't feel myself.
But how quickly,
well.
Tanya, how quickly after you stop the medication do you start to feel not like yourself?
About 3 or 4 days.
That's a withdrawal reaction, Tanya. That you do need to know. That's a scientific fact. If within 2 or 3 days after stopping a medication, Prozac 3 days is your typical period because it's a little longer in effect. If you start to feel that way, that's a withdrawal reaction. So then you have a choice about going back on the medication or working with some kind of a trained professional to see if you can get through the withdrawal reaction. The problem that people run into, and this is not necessarily what Tanya will run into,
Thank you, Tanya. You can go now.
is that over the years they'll start to lose some of their feelings. They'll get more apathetic as the drug wears the neurotransmitters out, in effect. And then they try to come off, and they get terrible reactions when they try to withdraw.
So in the court of public opinion, when Tom Cruise took on Brooke Shields and said, I disagree with you taking something for depression after childbirth, and she said, I felt like I was going to commit suicide or hurt my baby if I didn't take it. I mean, where do you come on that debate?
Well, if you look at what was really going on, she was actually quite ill. She had had a difficult birth. She had some hormonal problems. She was fatigued. This was not just a matter of being a little depressed. Why would a woman become depressed after she gives birth? There are so many reasons. You're tired. Maybe you feel abandoned by your husband.
You don't think it's
need to bring a
surging
family
hormones?
together.
You don't think there's any possibility?
No, yes, oh yes, surging hormones, and in fact, a huge drop in the hormones. But that doesn't mean you should further gum up your brain with another drug. What that means is you need good, healthy living, you need good nutrition, you need your husband to spend more time with you, you need to get your family wrapped around you.
We have to take a break. Children and antidepressants when we come back. Dr. Peter Breggin is my guest today. Kids taking Ritalin, taking all these drugs for ADD and ADHD. Should they not be taking these drugs?
I don't think we should drug our children when we need to educate them, discipline them, love them, and raise them. The growing brain should not be bathed in toxic substances. Ritalin stunts, all the stimulants stunt growth, cause obsessive behaviors, suppress the spontaneity of the child. Many of these children get very depressed on these drugs.
But if some parents say, if my child wasn't on Ritalin, he wouldn't be studying, he wouldn't be focusing, he wouldn't be doing well in school, he would be failing.
Scientifically, there's no evidence that these drugs help with academic performance. I mean, think about it. Disrupting the brain with the same drugs that kids use on the street.
But anecdotally, don't the parents live with these children? Don't they see a change in behavior?
Well, there is a change. If you give these drugs to a chimpanzee, the same change takes place. The kids become less spontaneous, they become less social, they become less interactive, they are willing to do boring, very dull things, they even become obsessive about doing things. It's a harm to the brain that makes the child look better.
All right. Beverly in Plant City, your turn.
My son has a rare medical syndrome. It's LMBBS syndrome, and he was put on Paxil and Cymbalta, Lamictal, Wellbutrin, and in November he had acute kidney failure, so they took him off of all medications, and then when they did put him back on medications, they put him on Paxil alone, and he started opening the car door.
Opening the car door.
To jump out.
While it was going.
Jump out, yeah.
How old was your child when he first started being put on these medications?
Well, he's 33 years old now, so you know what I mean. He's been an older person, but I just want people to know that they will do this.
That does happen. People get disinhibited, it's called. They lose control over themselves and do bizarre and dangerous things. Paxil, probably the worst offender of all. Many of the cases in medication madness are about Paxil, but really every category of drug can have a similar effect.
Okay, want to spend a couple of minutes left. If not medication, what?
We need to re-empower human beings to take charge of their lives. It's easiest to see with children. If your child's out of control, your child needs discipline. You, the parent, need a parenting class. You may need some family counseling. Maybe read some good books on parenting. Out of control behavior in children, I mean, this is really a brilliant deduction, isn't it? Has to do with lack of discipline. And the most common cause is confused disciplinary principles in the family.
And so for adults, you believe family counseling or individual counseling for depression is better than taking the drugs?
Well, everything is better than taking drugs for depression. Depression is loss of hope. Religion, sports, exercise, love, romance, all of the things that make up life, finding the courage to live again, finding the strength to live again. Counseling can be very helpful for that, providing the counselor doesn't send you for Paxil as well.
Wow. It's you must have gotten a blowback somewhere from this pharmaceutical industry or the American Medical Association, because you're saying everything counter to what is going on in our culture today.
Yes, it's very, very risky to take the positions I take. And that's why you don't see more doctors doing what I'm doing. It's not because the science isn't with me. The science is with me, but the power and the money, we're talking billions of dollars, is with the pharmaceutical companies, the AMA, the American Psychiatric Association, the National Institute of Mental Health, what I call the psychopharmaceutical complex.
The book is Medication Madness. Dr. Peter Breggin, his new website is Breggin.com. It's a fascinating, controversial point of view. It's been a pleasure having you, Dr. Breggin.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, good luck to you. Book Medication Madness. Have a great afternoon, everyone.